The following program is rated PG-13. Parental supervision is advised.
All right. Let me get my clothes on here. Put my pants on. All right. Nobody's naked, right? All right.
Poseidon, the ruler of the seas and all that dwell within them. His rule over the oceans is unquestioned. There are those who serve him with tridents and with infinite knowledge of all things submarine. They are known by many names: coners, weaponeers, the merry men of Sherwood Forest. But by Poseidon himself, they are called the subvets.
Have you ever seen a submarine movie?
Oh my god. Operation Petticoat, Das Boot, The Enemy Below, Run Silent, Run Deep, Gray Lady Down.
Ooh, Yellow Submarine?
Yellow Submarine, yes. Well, there's so many submarine movies.
You see, Tommy, there's always one of two things about a submarine. In the first place, either the enemy finds you or he doesn't. Well, if he doesn't find you, there's nothing to worry about. But if he does, there is still one of two things. Either he drops a depth charge or he don't. Well, if he doesn't, there's nothing to worry about. If he does, then there's still one of two things. Either he drops it close to you or drops it far away. Of course, if he drops them far away, it's certainly foolish to worry. But if he drops them near you, then there is still one of two things to worry about.
You know, when I was in the Navy, I had a little saying: when the sea gets choppy, don't go on the boat.
Man battle station missile for WSRT. Spin up all missiles.
How you doing, Dave?
I am extraordinarily busy today. This is a crazy day for me, but
You know what I've been doing? I've been watching some old episodes of 24. I was digging around down in the basement, found a box. Got the box series. Well, I should have it right in front of me. I can show it to you. I'm watching. It's season 5. Oh, here it is. This one's season 5. Full 24, right? So I'm watching it. You know, you got President Pierce, you got corrupt politicians, all these crazy plots where, you know, they're trying to start wars and trying to start crazy things like wars with nuclear weapons and get other things involved and terrorism and it's just, you know, all this bliss, and it's so cool, but it just seems so kind of real for some reason. I can't put my finger on it. But other than that, I'm doing great.
Well, from what I hear, you've been kind of broken up a little bit, but you getting any better? I know you're still scheduled for surgery, right?
Yeah, that's still going to happen. So that's in about 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
So the ankle's still messed up. So a dear friend of mine posted on my Facebook page, Craig McCreary. You know, he was 92, but he was a naval officer during Korean War. He passed away. So, I mean, he had a good run. But, you know, after I was separated from the military, after that car accident, after 11 years and some change, you know, I just had a hard time getting it. And my church, you know, helped me get over that. And he was one of many other individuals that helped me guide me through that, you know, readjusting life to civilian life and, you know, finding other things to do other than, well, being a submarine sailor. But no, he was a real dear friend to me. And he made me promise to play taps for him like 100 times. And so I wanted to get on a plane and go down there. And I had it set up. I had the tickets ready to buy. But, you know, so the wife says, well, why don't you just wait till I get home? So I'm like, I got it right here. And she's like, yeah, we can go. And I found some direct flights at that point because it had to be a direct flight. Any connections, my wife's got to push me around in a wheelchair. So it gets all crazy. But, you know, they changed the algorithm so quickly on those tickets and ticket prices go up, and because they know you're looking when you refresh. So then I got to log in on a VPN in Zimbabwe or France or Mexico, and then I even use my virtual machine, and then I use a couple computers and all kinds of things just to try to. And I cannot get those prices again, and it just went up to past $1,000 just like that. Because that was for the direct flight, but all the cheaper ones, they had connections, and there was just no way to do it. So that really made me sad that I couldn't be down there to play taps for the funeral service, which is this Saturday at 1:00. But it was Lieutenant Craig McCreary, great friends. He was a NASA engineer from like the old days, So that there was a lot of those guys in the church too. That started in the Mercury program, all that history. And it made me think of too, another thing, like when I used to go on the bus trips, with my kids, because I was just as a band parent, we're in the finances, the band and stuff, but you talk to the bus drivers as you're going to a football game and stuff. And all these guys, they're driving the buses. They just do it part-time. They're retired, and they're all retired engineers from out there, from the Apollo era, Mercury or whatever, and they're just trying to get golf money. So here you got all this history, and you're talking to these guys, and it was just real interesting. On top of being stationed at NO2 and have a little bit of rocket background myself, it was good times. But no, it was sad I couldn't make the funeral. But the family says that I am relieved of duties, and I should not feel sorry for it. But you kind of want to do that.
You could always do this.
What's that?
Either tape it and send them a tape, or do it live on Zoom.
I was thinking about doing a live. Yeah, I was really thinking about it, doing a live playing of it, and then maybe I can find a Navy funeral detail where I could splice in the video where they're doing a 21 gun salute. But I haven't figured out how to do the flag folding detail yet. So
yeah, I don't think you could do that from there.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I could record taps, and I am thinking about doing that because I do have the little microphone to clip on the end, and I could set up the audio properly through my mixer board, and I might do that tomorrow. Don't be surprised if you see a post.
I'm here to help. That's what I do.
Huh?
I'm here to help. That's what I do.
Oh yeah, if you help me out, if you're recording, that would be great. That would probably work out great. And maybe we'll talk about it after the show. Maybe we can figure something out, and I could send that to the family. I think they would like that. That would be pretty neat. Because just playing a horn, just playing a horn on like a cell phone, or like I even tried, like my camera's outside at a distance. It just doesn't sound right. It cracks and stuff. But if you put the mic right on it and you got it, kind of going into a studio board, it sounds like you're there.
I had to do a funeral last year during COVID, and it was one of those ones where they wanted a bugler to play it, and trying to get somebody to play bugle was, pulling teeth. This guy,
they do
and he says he's got an electronic bugle. It's a bugle. It's got a computer chip in it. You just push the thing and hold it up, and it plays tabs.
So yeah, I've seen him do it on boombox. I've seen him put that device right. They have a bugle horn and they put it in the bell and it plays. But there's nothing like the real version of taps being played. Because you could feel the heart of the person performing it, and it's more. I don't know, was it surreal for the family? When it's played live. So that was at NO2 got the funeral detail after. Or the Orlando Navy Base, RTC and Nuke School, when they went away in 96 or 97, we got past the duties. So yeah, I found out they were doing funeral drops with a boombox. So I tried to do every funeral I could after, for the command, and I lost count how many did, and a lot of those were World War II guys. So there was just. If I could be there was no way I was going to let somebody, serve World War II, Korea, Vietnam, being buried to a boombox. It just that wasn't going to fly with me, and it was an honor to do that. I'm also a member of the Bugles Across America, too. That's a cool website. and we post a link about that. So if you need a bugler in your area, if you go to Bugles across America, you can put in a request. And even if you can't get a military detail, you can get a bugler. And sometimes it's a high school kid. There's a lot of high school kids volunteering on there, which I think is fantastic. So
I would think so too. Well, that's it's hard sometimes. I mean, I just as a base commander for USSVI, it seems like all we do is funerals. I mean, it's every time I turn around, there's somebody else passing away, and it's like
right.
It gets old after a while, man.
It gets rotten. You guys got your own color guard detail too?
No, we don't. No, we usually pull from NBK, Naval Base Kids App.
Yeah, because you got the Navy base, which right. And and there's some places that are not near a base. You got the VFW or American Legion. They have details too. So there's a number of organizations you can arrange at. Even if your loved one's not a submarine or just a veteran, there's a number of ways to honor them if you wish to, because they certainly deserve it. If you want to arrange
need your support too locally. So
yeah,
wherever you are, please do. So there is a lot going on in the world right now. As you were saying earlier, it's kind of surreal. I don't know.
Can we call Jack Bauer? Can we call him? You got a number to CTU?
No, I don't have it. I'm one of the few people that have never watched a single minute of 24. Never have.
You got to be kidding me. And see, I don't watch TV hardly at all, but there's a couple shows I've gotten caught up with over the years, and that was one of them. So
here's the weird thing about me, and I acknowledge that it's weird. So don't send me emails going, I know it's weird. Basically, if something becomes culturally popular, I won't do it.
Right.
So like 24 becomes a big hit. Never seen Game of Thrones. Never seen Breaking Bad.
A couple Breaking Bad episodes, because I just wanted to know what all the. I was listening to a little bit of Howard Stern back then, and I want to know what the heck is he, because they were talking about it all the time. So I just checked out a couple episodes. But no, anything last 10 years, I couldn't tell you what's been on. And of course now everything's Netflix and Hulu, and I mean everybody's got their own live streaming shows that they're funding. So everything's moved online, and just it's not like the good old days, Dave, where your dad told you to go out there and turn the antenna to get a better feed on channel 6, and then he tells you come in and switch the channel to channel 2, which this is in Orlando,
Channel 2 viewing positions, and everybody hold their arms.
Yeah, you're the remote control. You turn the antenna. Man, these kids have no idea. In fact, there's a lot of adults that have no idea.
So long ago, man.
Seems like a different world. Like I got thrown onto a different timeline. I've always had a theory I was abducted by aliens, and this would explain a lot that I was just dropped on. So
I can absolutely believe that you were. I don't believe in aliens, but I can absolutely believe that they would kidnap you.
No, they kidnapped me. But back when it happened, I was a little overweight, so they decided to bring me back because they were getting bad gas mileage. So that's how that worked out. I'll be here all week.
Moscow went down yesterday or day before yesterday or whenever it was on Thursday.
Did you see the latest video that's been put out on Twitter? So there's a Twitter video. I just retweeted it on my feed. It's our friend that's over on Reddit, that Submarine or Eric. I'm trying to remember his name. But yeah, it shows the explosion. And it looks like a Mark 48 slammed into the side of the thing the way that explosion hit. But, so I looked at it several times and I said, well, if it was a Mark 48, that thing would have lifted out of the water or something.
Come on, man. You don't believe that's the Moskva, do you?
Huh?
You don't really believe that tweet is the Moskva blowing up, do you?
I don't believe anything I see on there. There's people at home that can make videos that look believable.
Right. That's fine. Yeah.
And it's grainy. It's like a UFO video,
It's not legit.
See the UFO? It's dancing around. I can barely get a good shot of it. It's a little grainy, but that's it. That's it right there.
Yeah, that's not legit. She was hit in the dark of the night in a storm, so I'd be shocked if there was ever actually.
Well, so that says it's not legit right off the bat. So.
Although I got a good friend of mine, the Mill Serp writer, a former Army guy who writes a lot, who he has more free time than I do apparently, but he went and actually looked at the weather reports for the Black Sea when it happened, and he's not convinced that there was actually a storm. There was a little bit of rain, but not a gale force wind or anything. So,
well, on one of my conspiracy feeds, they said that they had nuclear weapons on board and it could be leaking.
I have heard that. It would not surprise me, but at the same time, is it likely? I don't know. I've also talked about this on my show last week. They apparently had relics of the True Cross on board it as well. From the Orthodox Church, the Russian Orthodox Church.
Oh, yeah.
We have relics of the True Cross, which, this time of year, that's kind of a thing, I guess. But
being Easter, that us Christ believing guys. I mean, I know you don't play in that arena anymore, but
tonight's Passover too. So.
Yeah, our fake Christmas trees. What did you call it? Tree worshiping or something?
Pagan tree worship.
Paganism, tree worshiping. I like that.
But I don't know. I mean, whether she had nuclear weapons on board or not, God, the damage that thing must have caused when it hit is it's eye-opening in one level. Granted, the Moskva is a very old ship. She was built back in the 70s.
Right.
And she's been updated, although we're talking about Russians here. So how updated had she actually been, and how well had she been maintained? And the big question, Eric, how well was the crew trained? Yeah.
I mean, you got all that, but accidents do happen because what battleship was it that the magazine exploded? This is in the 80s.
The Iowa,
yeah.
But again, even that, Eric, is a great example, because the Iowa, when that happened, remember the Navy immediately said, it was this gay guy who did it on purpose to kill his spurned lover. That's what the Navy came out and said that. Okay?
They said that? They said it just like that?
The initial Navy investigation was claimed.
You know how many people would lose their job if that got said now?
That's what the
probably
Navy
about 135 people. Probably.
Navy argued for years that this thing was caused by a gay guy who was upset because he got spurned in a love triangle or something. And so he intentionally detonated the powder charge inside the turret. Well, come to find out, years later, before the Navy would even acknowledge this, none of that was true. Of course, we knew it wasn't true then, but what was actually true was that they were using experimental powder that they were not authorized to experiment with. They were not supposed to be using, and doing things that they should not have been doing. And it caused, quote unquote, an accident. I hate that term accident, because accident implies that there's nothing anybody could have done to prevent it.
Right.
With the Iowa, that's not true. With the Oriskany, it's not true. You got a sailor who panics. He's got a flare in his hand or whatever, and he should just throw it overboard, and he doesn't. He throws it in the locker with the rest of the stuff, and next thing you know, you got a fire. And you got the whole Forrestal thing, and it's
always lack of training, improper use of procedures, or maintenance related. That's usually
that stuff happens to us. How likely is it that it could happen to the Russians? There's two stories here. Did the thing get hit by a missile, or did they actually have an accident? Either way, it doesn't matter, because the Moskva's on the bottom, out of the fight, as it were, which is, of course, a great thing. Ish, he said questioningly. I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even picking sides anymore, Dave, because everything's with social media, like we just said earlier. Can you believe what is that video real? Is anything getting on, or what? How do you pick out what's real and not real? This is like a different type spectrum of war being fought now. Where
I got involved in a conversation the other day about this very thing, and the fact that all we're seeing is TikToks and Twitter videos about how great the Ukrainians are doing. God bless them. Don't get me wrong. I don't like the Russians either. The more Russians that get screwed up with this, the happier I am. But the way it's being presented to us is not the whole picture. And I started thinking about this on Wednesday of last week. The Dodgers were playing the Twins in Minnesota. And if I told you that the Twins chased Clayton Kershaw after 7 innings and managed to score a run against the vaunted Dodger defense and held the Dodgers to only 3 runs in that game. Sounds like the Twins had a great game, huh?
Right.
They got no hit for 7 innings. Perfect game against them. It sounds like they did a great thing, but they didn't. And this is the same thing we're getting with the Ukrainians. We're seeing all this stuff that shows them in this great light, how well they're doing, how fantastic they're doing. But when you look at a map, they're losing. And it doesn't matter how many TikTok videos you put out. What matters is on the ground, what's happening. Are the Russians screwing this up? Absolutely. Is it a Charlie Foxtrot? You betcha. But it is so prototypical Russian.
But you know, I mean, I hate Russians. I mean, I just because you know we were both there obviously during when the Cold War and communism and everything. But I get it. But you know, there's a lot of corruption throughout the world. You know, they're pushing this one world order agenda. And if I find out there's corruption over there, like they're talking about the Nazis over there, and again, some of this could be real, not real. It's hard to tell. But, you know, if there's corruption and bad things and human trafficking and the Russians are weeding some of that, I mean, you go back and forth. Am I hating Russia or am I rooting them on in certain circumstances that they're getting bad guys? Because anybody doing human trafficking or, you know, all the other corruption is going on in this world, which we could spend an hour talking about that, which is not the point of this show. I mean,
not as easy as it seems, is it?
No, it's not easy. It's not. You know what? That's exactly right. It's like we said. What happened to the good old days? It was just us and the Ruskies, and it was easy.
And the Olympics were great.
That's right.
The Soviets.
You know, we got to throw in all this internet stuff, and it makes it all messed up when you don't know who to believe or what's going on.
It's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in these days. Speaking of crazy worlds, did you see, you posted this story on the Subvet and on the page, this may be, I don't know. We don't have an award for weirdest story of the year, but this is in the running. So Thailand tries to buy a Chinese submarine.
Oh yeah.
Because they need a submarine.
Several stories about this. Yeah.
Right. So they buy the submarine and then they find out it doesn't have an engine in it.
I thought it was engines, like no engines, period.
Right. It doesn't have any engines. Germany gets involved in this because apparently Germany is the one that builds the engines for the Chinese submarines. I didn't know that.
Supply chain problems, Dave.
Everybody's got. They refuse to supply an engine for the Chinese submarine that they want to sell to the Taiwanese. So the Taiwanese are like, wait.
But we're not China. And the Germans was like, but
we're not going to pay you for this.
We don't like China, and you bought a Chinese Russian. It's like the Russians selling, you know, them a submarine. Would Germany give them engines for that? Probably not.
No. So even if they get this thing, don't they have to cut it open? They got to cut it in half to install the engine in it now, or engines in it. And are we talking about the main engines? Or are we talking about the diesel engines? What are we talking about here? But I just think it's bizarre that maybe it's maybe there's something going on there that I don't really understand. And maybe it got lost in the translation between Chinese and Thai.
Speaking of modern day,
it doesn't come with an engine.
Yeah, it doesn't come with. Does you get this fancy submarine? You go to commission it, but we can't. Sea trials are infinitely delayed.
Like the Russian aircraft carrier, they have to tow it out to sea.
You know, I was just thinking too, you know, so here we're blaming internet and social media, but you know, you had prior to World War II, you also had Ford supplying engines for German tanks, IBM supplying the early versions of computing, you know, to the Nazis. So I think the world's been crazy for a long time. I mean, there's this hidden history that might be coming out eventually, and we'll be like, holy smacks, what have we been doing? What the heck's been going on for the last hundreds of years.
You could make an argument that this whole fight is over Russian gas being sold to Germany.
Yeah.
I mean,
because they were building that pipeline. Yeah.
Nord Stream 2.
The Nord Stream. Yeah. How did we get on this topic?
Because we're talking about these Taiwanese submarine, which there's a lot of sub stories out there that is amusing and interesting and that, but this whole thing about getting an engine, it doesn't come with an engine. Didn't anybody read the fine print? Did anybody look at this and go, wait a second, what kind of, isn't that the first thing you ask? What kind of propulsion system does this ship have?
Right.
And if the answer is it doesn't have one, don't you kind of raise your hand and go, well, what am I paying for you exactly here?
Yeah. What am I getting? It's like, it's kind of going on now. I mean, there's a guy at work. He's waiting. He put in an order for a truck, and I think he's just waiting for it to get delivered because it doesn't have a computer chip ready to put in it. I know he's been driving his old truck for weeks now. He already traded in the other. I guess he has two trucks. So he has a really old truck, and then he had a truck that he traded in already, and he's waiting on a truck that hasn't been delivered yet because don't have an engine.
I know back in the day, because I know the guy personally who did it, and I won't tell you his name, but it rhymes with Sean Bagby, the storekeeper, who discovered that there's actually, remember those little white forms? I don't remember what they were called. Those little white forms that you had that you filled out in triplicate for ordering spare parts. God, I can't remember what those are called.
Yeah, the supply forms. Oh, they were pink. I should know. I was an RPPO. Yeah. Darn it! I only filled out about 100 million of them.
Anyway, he discovered that there was a repair part number for a Trident pressure hull, so you could actually order a Trident pressure hull with one of those things. And so
no kidding.
He filled it out, and it made it through the division officer, or the chief, the division officer, the department head, the XO. And it finally lands on the captain's desk because the cost was, pretty excessive. And he was like, why am I?
Yeah, a little bit excessive. EB's like, hey, we got a request for Trident pressure hull. Did we say anything? No. Just let's see how far it gets.
Let's build it.
Let's build it. Let's build that pressure hull for him.
The problem is it wouldn't come with an engine.
Yeah.
Just get a pressure hull. What do you do with it? And then, you end up in the newspapers looking ridiculous because you bought something that didn't have an engine.
Did you see the other story? They're saying that submarine underwater dramas series are becoming the end thing. So that the one with the British Trident, what was that one called? About that. So that one's done really well. It's on BBC Channel 1 or 2, whatever. But so I guess Netflix and other ones are talking about making their own versions of the undersea dramas. So submarines are the end thing. Because everybody, you noticed with all the news that I that I put on the Facebook group. I mean, it's just one country developing this submarine or buying this submarine or doing this with an upgrade or a new weapon system for example. It's the new end thing. So it's like the battleships of pre-World War II. So submarines are the thing now. Everybody needs one, wants one, and loves one, which is cool. So maybe I should make T-shirts that says "Love a submarine" or "Hug a submarine" or something, or give a submarine a hug.
Hug a submarine. I don't know, man. Television dramas about submarines have a typical course of being really bad. Speaking of that, and we didn't talk about this last show. We got a lot of response to the slash film list of 15 best submarine flicks.
Oh, shoot!
We got people coming out of the woodworks on this one, which causes me to realize that what submariners really care about is movies. I don't know why, but we do. Everybody that responded pretty much agreed Das Boot number one. I mean, hands down. There was a lot of discussion about why some of those films were even on that list. I had to explain to a couple of them, look, it's not my list.
We didn't make it. We thought we even listened to. Yeah, we said it was ridiculous on a podcast.
Right. There were movies on that list that did not belong on that list. There were movies on that list that are good submarine movies, but maybe they're not the 15 best. And yes, they missed several of them, and we know that. They definitely missed Down Periscope. I don't know how you put together a submarine movie list and missed
that. Should have been number 2.
Easily. So there was that. But man, people really as far as our video numbers go, I don't know if you saw it or not, but the video numbers on that are close to 400 as of this recording. So people care about movies. Submariners.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed any of these other YouTubers out there, movies, when they review movies, that's a good thing. Maybe we should every now and then we'll do a movie review. We'll pick out a submarine movie and we'll just talk about it a little bit, huh? That might be neat.
Dive on a movie.
Yeah, that would be fun. A deep dive on a submarine movie. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's well, let's throw that out there then. Give us your suggestions. Which movie should we watch? Mm-hmm. And do a deep dive on, really pick it apart and go, this is good, this is bad, whatever. Just you can send me an email, DolphinDave@slipperyfish.com.
Eric@thesubbed.com, or you can hit us up on the text line, which Dave will put on the screen or at the end of the podcast. You can see it.
It'll be on the well, I'll tell you what, while Eric is telling you about 7K medals, I'll look for it.
All right, let me tell you about 7K medals. Dave, I'm excited. I had a couple new signups this week. So the 7K medals for the of my group is growing, and I'm excited about it. So it's something to explore. You get education out of it. If you have not done anything with gold and silver yet, you need to consider it now with this crazy economy we have. We can see how our currencies, it's going south. They called it fiat currency for a reason, since it went off the gold standard. And, here we get a big portion of the world that's going back onto the gold standard. So maybe it's time to learn about gold and silver a little bit and start buying a little bit of it. So, part of the platform is, if you go on 7K metal /subbet, you'll see save, share, and learn. And it's a great platform to definitely share the experience of saving gold and metal. And on top of that, I think I kind of talked about a little bit about the offensive and defensive strategy. So the defensive, if you're into like the stock trading where, or the cryptos where you got to watch things going up and down. Well, the coin collecting industry does that as well. So if you're into that, you can, there's a couple apps that come in with the membership with 7K medals, and you can certainly do that. And there's money to be made. We have things what they call coin drops. There's only so many of these coins minted, and some of these coins and these intricate designs, they really move. And, like we had the Black Panther one, I think it was 2 ounce. The members could buy it for $350, and a week later, they were selling as much as $1,500. So if you're into that part of it, that there's certainly room to make money as well. So go on to my website. You go on to thesubbet.com. You can hit the advertisement link and get to it that way. There's a couple videos where it says save, share, and learn. Watch a couple of videos and see if 7K medals might be for you. And if you have any questions about it, please hit me up at eric@thesubbet.com.
So you've got a story here on the Subvet about the Comsolets. I was actually talking to somebody about this very submarine probably a week ago. This is we used to call it the Mike class. It was the only submarine the Russians built of that class. Deepest diving submarine in history.
Right.
Something like 3,000 meters. Caught fire and sank. And it's sitting on the bottom now with nuclear weapons.
Is this on that 1945 webpage? I want to talk about that a little bit too.
I don't think so. Yes, it is on the 1945 webpage.
Yeah, right.
So I remember this thing sinking in 1989, and this was the first time I'd seen that thing that they had, the escape pod.
In the sail.
Yeah, in the sail, where they could climb into the escape pod, and like 40 of the guys got off through that.
It's thing. Actually a pretty cool idea. I've seen that. I think they still have it on some of their current sub models.
It's an interesting idea. I don't know. Man, the only thing I could think of is what happens if the accident or whatever occurs, the casualty occurs in the operations compartment, near the sail. You're not going to be able to get to it. So in that case, I wonder if it's it worked in this case where they got 42 guys off the thing, but then they got to the surface and it was a big storm and, it was like a mess up there. But I don't know, would that work better than a stanky hood or a survival suit, do you think?
I think it's an excellent idea, but I bet, our engineering staffs and NAVC and all that stuff. They probably did cost analysis or whatever. Is it really worth it? And what's the possibility? Like you were just saying, what's the feasibility of using it? And then if you don't have it in other parts of the boat, maybe you'd have to build pods and engineering or for missile compartment section, obviously, if it was a Columbia class. So I mean, I'm sure they thrown the idea around, but there's probably reasons, cost or whatever, that they've just not done it.
Yeah, I've seen this idea actually floated for airplanes, where the passenger compartment of an airplane, say a 757 or whatever, is a self-contained thing that has parachutes and stuff like. So if the plane breaks up, the passenger cabin theoretically holds together. Like
Escape from New York 2. Sneak Plissken, remember the president? He jumped into a pod on the 747 and ejected. Yeah, that thing. Yeah. They also have parachutes in small planes too that work and have been used several times. You can actually find news clips online about that.
Well, I'm pretty sure parachute wouldn't work on a submarine, but it's an interesting idea, and I thought it was interesting that you posted that story because I was just talking to somebody about that the other day about the consulates and how it's. The problem is it's down there on the bottom of the Norwegian Sea and it's leaking radioactivity. So it's poisoning fish and the likes of that. And the Norwegians are all upset. And the Russians are typically,
What about that? Do you remember hearing the news? There was a website like 15 years ago. Maybe it's still around. I just haven't looked. Shark Hunters, I think was the name of it. They look for. No. They actually there's this. There are a whole group of guys that are looking for German World War II boats, sunken boats, kind of like we're looking for our Pacific.
Lost 52 project is looking.
Yeah, and then I guess there's one that's got mercury on board that's leaking a little bit.
Yes, there is. I don't remember where off the top of my head, but yes, there is a U-boat.
Why am I thinking it's like north of UK or somewhere in that area? It seems like maybe it's
leaking really badly, and they either built a dome over it or some such, or they're going to have to raise it. And boy, those wrecks they're hard to find, and there's so many of them.
Right.
Like holy crap. So what is it about this 1945 website that you wanted to?
I haven't looked into it, but they're posting submarine stuff left and right. I'd probably have 15 or more articles from them. It seems like every day. I'm just wondering if somebody over there, either they're noticing that the popularity of submarines right now, and they're just jumping on board. I don't even know what the website's about. I haven't looked into that. I only have so much time a day, and some of it's spent in bed, me whining and being in pain. I call you about that sometimes too. And Dave, can you send me? I need a bedtime story. Can't sleep. I'm in so much pain. I have been struggling with this for a while, and that because that's why we've skipped a couple weeks. But no, I just don't have time to follow up on some things. You make a note of something, you're like, I need to look into that. And then you're sidetracked. Well, in my case, doctor appointments and other drama. I got a lot of family. I got a big family. When you got a Peruvian family, just got a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff going on.
There's an interesting site. It's called 19, the numbers 19, and then the words 45.com. And they do seem to have pretty good information. Their mission is based on the year of 1945 being one of radical change. We're led by national security experts who are tired of the same old publications publishing the same tired ideas. We seek to hold no one ideology or opinion in favor. We are nonpartisan, non-factual. Oh, factional. Sorry. That didn't make sense. Nonpartisan, non-factional.
Fictional.
Yeah. Publication. They publish a wide range of analysis, opinion, and reporting that is slanted to the left, right, and center. So they even acknowledge that some of their reporting is slanted. All of our writers and contributing editors come from very different backgrounds, and many times we disagree with each other vigorously. I love that word, vigorously. That's probably one of my favorite words because
that doesn't. I like that. That doesn't seem so bad to me. I mean, hey, you call yourself out. Hey, this is who we are, and sometimes we hate each other and
vigorously.
What it is vigorously. It sounds like a submarine crew, actually. Sounds conspicuous. Like pick a boat.
Right. They never rely on a paywall, so forth and so on. So just looking at some of their headlines for today, undeclared U.S.-China technology war. Meet the Moskva, how Ukraine nearly sank Russia's Black Sea flagship. Well, now they have.
Yeah.
Stay the course on reinventing the U.S. Marine Corps. So there does appear to be some interesting stuff here. And it's probably worth looking at. Joe Biden has a big problem. Extraordinarily elevated inflation.
I don't think that's... anyways.
You didn't know that already?
Yeah. That took some investigation. All right, let's figure that out.
Life is going on. Well, look.
So I've been, and you're really into history. So I've kind of been on a history kick here lately, and maybe I think I might just keep flying with it. So, I'm kind of trying to get into Twitter a little bit more. Especially if Elon Musk buys it, wouldn't it be cool to be on Twitter then? I mean, well, that's a whole other opinion anyway. But there's a whole community of submariners on Twitter, and they got their own. It's like we were talking on the last podcast. Was it the last podcast we talked about Reddit? And we said, nah, it's not us. We're not doing that. Can't even read the font, so small. But it's like the Twitter culture and the Facebook culture, and it really is hard to focus on just one as it is. And then if you try to do all the social media, you're going to be all day posting stuff. But no, I just posted. It's a good place to I got a couple of World War II posts. Well, I posted just one about 2 destroyers that sunk a German submarine today. And then yesterday was a Medal of Honor winner. So Lieutenant Commander George L. Street III. I'm probably going to say this wrong. USS Tirante. Am I close? Tirante. I wonder if you roll the R, like the Spanish team. SS-420. So, attacks a Japanese convoy and approaches to the Yellow Sea and sinks a transport ship and 2 vessels. And, and we can talk about the heroics of these guys, all day long. And of course, a lot of the submarine commanders get most of the accolades, I guess is what you would call it. And you look at some of the old World War II submarines. I always like how they did the same thing at Crimson Tides. Enlisted guys, we're just a bunch of bubbling idiots, and we got to be told what to do every 2 seconds. And thank God the officers are there, or the boat would sink in 2 minutes. But no, submarining takes a whole crew. So I'm sure some of these submarine commanders. I know their success is because of the training of the crew and how well they get, and certainly the captain deserves a lot of respect for getting the training the way it is. But boy, can you imagine being on one of these boats, man, running back then doing that, and you're not even really a true submarine. You got to come up for air.
I struggle with that concept because that's what I call Tom Clancy disease, where, it's the officer, it's the commanding officer of the ship that does everything. It's a lot like Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk's always the one figuring out how to do something. It's never the junior people. I struggle with that because one of the things I want to do, I want to write a submarine novel. I have a plot. I have an idea. I have everything I need, but I keep running into this problem of realistic conflict between people, because I know what submariners are really like, and I know that they would not behave in the Crimson Tide kind of manner.
But you're a Trekkie, Dave, so I'm afraid it would follow that thing. You'd have them wearing different colored shirts, and the red shirt guys would always die. So
I struggle with that because, see, that's the big problem with Crimson Tide as a movie, is that the conflict between the crew is unrealistic. Would never happen that way. And I
agree with you.
Personally be party to something that perpetrates that type of understanding of things. That would drive me nuts. To have my name on a book that says this is how submariners behave would embarrass me. So I got to come up with a realistic way to create that conflict between people that doesn't involve that. Now, look, we're submariners. I know we have conflict. I know we drive each other nuts because we all find out.
But you'd be writing an encyclopedia set. The books would be so long, with all the character development. Right. Because, every person on a submarine crew is you got to agree with this. They're their own character, own person. That's for sure.
Oh, and of course, they find out what annoys you. They're going to. I used to tell people all the time. People ask me, Dave, what bothers you the most? Well, physically, the thing that bothers me the most, I could tell you what it is, but I would never tell submariners what it is, because if I told Eric what it was, the next time we'd get in front of the show, he would be doing it all
day long.
And here's the problem with it, Eric. Here's the biggest problem with it is there is a thing that people do, and I'm not going to describe. My wife does it, and it drives you up the freaking wall, but I can't say anything.
He's going to tell me. Better not tell me, Dave.
But I happen to know that if anybody on the ship had ever found out what it was, everybody on the ship would have been doing it just to annoy me.
Right.
That kind of conflict is easy to develop because it's kind of funny in a way, because it's my own neuroses. It's my own thing.
The best was like guys having like I don't know, stuffed animal or something that they sleep with, and then it disappears, and then they're getting threat notes, and if you want them to, come back with not missing anything, I need a pack of cigarettes and one of the latest magazines of such and such. Well, we won't discuss that, but there'd be demands to get your whatever you treasure back. And it would run for weeks.
If there's some sort of physical thing that annoys you and people find out about it, oh my God, it's going to be. We were sitting on the mess decks one day, and was it me? I don't remember who did it. It had to be me, because I was the one stacking stuff. We had spice cake one day. The delicious spice cake they used to make.
Right. Oh, yeah. Man.
And some guy reached across the freaking table and took a bite of my spice cake, just pinched it off and ate it.
Yeah, I can see that.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
it freaks you out.
You want my cake? Yeah. So I grabbed the cake and I smashed it into his plate. I said, here, eat that. Oh, you want some mashed potatoes too? And I just grabbed my mashed potatoes. And by the time I got done, man, I was grabbing other people's tables' food and just stacking it in front of this guy. Had a stack of food like a foot tall in front of him. Like, why don't you eat that too? And then I got up and walked away.
Did you feel better after that?
Oddly, I felt better, but not as good as I'd hoped to feel.
The Weps didn't bring you in for a PRP interview, did he?
Oh, God, no. No, this was back when behavior like that was,
Well, he's kind of like, yeah.
It was a legendary, funny moment, but it was, people do things that annoy you, and you got to learn to deal with it. But how do you get that? See, that's the thing I don't like about submarine books. The thing I don't like about submarine movies is the conflicts, the moral conflicts between people are so unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because the whole Crimson Tide thing would never happen.
And it's tons of great memories too. You can, if we had time to think, we could think about all the crazy stuff that went on just one patrol. Good times.
The Exo's door. I mean, there's always.
When people make chief, they gotta, carry around that log book and all the. Stuff.
It's
one of our guys made chief, and we were doing all the pranks against him, and he thought it was the chiefs doing it the whole time.
I always considered it my sacred duty as a second class to get that logbook.
Oh yeah. You had to get that logbook.
Drill holes in it. And then I thought to myself, if I ever make chief, my life is going to be hell.
Oh yeah,
but I never made chief, so I didn't have to worry about it. At the end of the day, it was not an issue for me, as it turns out. But it was, I look back on some of that stuff, and the problem with the stuff that really happened is most of the public would find it, if not boring, they would find it petty and childish.
Right.
As opposed to entertaining to the kind of, to handing me, $17.99 for a book to read about it.
And I can see that, but they're not also locked up for 3 months with a bunch of guys either. So,
well, guys and gals now. Can you imagine what the fights are like now? Holy!
I was on a submarine tender and had females on board there. Just a lot of drama. Then I can't even imagine. I don't even want to know what it's like with a mixed crew.
Look, I'm all for it. I don't have a problem with women to be on submarines, but I'm just thinking to myself. Groucho Marx to paraphrase the great Groucho Marx, I wouldn't want to be on a submarine with a woman who wants to be on a submarine. That would be
the thing. Yeah.
There's something wrong with her already if she wants to be on a submarine.
And so, and I've kind of picked up somebody say, one time in a comment, because when you post these things about women, it just gets all kinds of attention. And, for some of these older guys, sometimes it's really bad attention. But, I've always taken it's not that women can't do the job. They certainly can, certainly capable of doing it. And some people could probably dispute that. It's you're in your 20s. It's the hormonal challenge. And the fact that, relationships are going to happen. And the poor captain, and that's what was going on in the Canopus. I mean, they were having captain's mass 3 times a week because of that very issue. So now you lock yourself in the tube for 3 months, and then because it happens. I mean, hormones are just going. So that's the challenge. It's not whether either sex can do the job or not. It's that. And then you got everything else that you can do now. I mean,
it was strange enough at times where we would come in off patrol and doing turnover and like that. And they would, I don't remember the shop number. Because see, when all these people have shop numbers and stuff, I don't remember the shop number that did the typewriter maintenance. Because kids back in those days, we had typewriters, IBM Selectric typewriters.
Yeah, you had repair shops, are this, are that. And the weapons.
I'd be working in the weapons office. I'd be down there working in the weapons office because I was the weapons department yeoman.
Yeah,
and this gal would come in to do the the typewriter maintenance. And I got to tell you, man, it was distracting. You're coming off of 3 months, coming off of patrol, 3 months underwater. Mm-hmm. That was distracting enough. And
that's what we always said coming into the Holy Lock. When you pulled in, you could smell perfume from, as soon as you surfaced, you could smell it.
That wasn't fish and chips.
Yeah, you could just pick it out of everything. It didn't matter if it was fish and chips or old fish and chips.
That's the way it goes. Well,
3 months is 3 months.
I got a lot to get to, so I'm going to take this opportunity to say to Eric and our Christian listeners, happy Easter to you. I hope you have a blessed Easter.
Right.
And for those of us of the tribe, may we have a blessed and kosher Passover. Starts tonight. Oh God, I got so much to do.
So you got so you're a commander, and then you got your duties, and I got duties in my church too. I get it. I know. It's just a lot. It's just life keeps happening. So
if I sit around here talking submarines all day.
Oh, I just wanted to make one. There was another one about the USS Harder too. So on there, I think it was another submarine too. So yeah. So I think April was just a good month for World War II submarines. But anyways. Yeah, check out the website, the subbed.com. And then, of course, you can get to any of the social media groups from there, which is Facebook/groups/subbed or Twitter /the subbed. And you can go to the Twitter feed. So you can check us out there. And once again, my email address is eric@thesubbed.com.
I'm DolphinDave at slipperyfish.com, just like it sounds. And the phone number, if you want to leave us a text or a voicemail, is 360-930-9556, which I should have memorized by now, but I don't. So I'm terrible with See, the first of the 21st century, I don't memorize phone numbers anymore.
Yeah, everybody used to know 100 numbers. Forget about it. Now I don't. I'm lucky if I remember my wife's number now.
I know my grandfather's number from 45, 50 years ago.
I know my home number from when I was a kid still. I know that one.
But I have a hard time remembering 360-930-9556. I'm Dave Bowman.
And I'm Eric Ryle. And the Subbed.